what I want to talk about today, ultimately, the things I did to help myself and grow as a person, to change the person that I was before into the person I am today. The requirement was change to get this new result and to become a better version of myself, or what I consider a better version, getting better results. So, first thing I did, I had to identify my pain, and I had to come to the realization that there was too much pain and suffering staying the way that I was, and that there's less pain changing to become this new person. So that's the main reason why a lot of people get stuck, is because there's not enough pain where they're at and who they are in the moment. So they choose to remain the same, as opposed to put the effort and the requirements of change into becoming this new person, this new version of themselves. And all of it is based on pain. So if you don't have enough pain, so most people are like in the middle, and if there's not enough pain to actualize your action threshold, basically for you to take action or feel like you need to take action, instead of putting it off like it's not really a priority because things aren't that bad, and well, I get paid enough, but I'm not really appreciating my job, but it pays the bills, and I'm in a relationship with this girl, and I like her, and she's cool, but she's an alcoholic, so it's like you're choosing to settle. And that's the whole thing, is that's most people live a life of mediocrity because they're somewhere in the middle, called some people call it no man's land. But essentially, what you need to happen is to identify with what you want and what you're willing to accept and settle with, because what you tolerate, you invite more of into your life. So if you have low standards in terms of what you're asking of yourself, like, this is fine and this is okay, you're not going to create the drive behind you doing the actions required to change into this version that you wish to become. People want things. They say they want things, but they don't want to put in the effort to do it. And that is because there's not enough pain behind it. Pain pleasure principle is that we do things either to avoid pain or to seek pleasure. We will do more to avoid pain than we will to seek pleasure. But those are the two main ones. So we can use pain as a leverage or a catalyst for change to get us to do the things that we say we want to do, but we hadn't been doing for a long time. So essentially that's what I did. I didn't like who I was. I didn't really accept the person I'd allowed myself to become, and I began to take ownership and responsibility for the results I was getting, which were pretty bad. I had a lot of life events happen very quickly. My girlfriend at the time had broken up with me. I lost my job. I got laid off for lack of work. And then my brother passed away. And then my father essentially disowned me. So that was within 5 months. All these things happened very, very quickly. When I was 32 years old, I'm 34 now, so this is about 2 years ago. And I'd been on a self-development path for a long time, but I didn't have the action threshold or enough pain to follow through with a lot of this stuff. I was just dabbling, and I found it interesting. But it wasn't enough leverage there to actually change until all these life events, or life's storms, as we like to use as a metaphor, pushed me over the edge of my action threshold with enough pain to make the changes required to get better results. Because I didn't like the results I was getting. I didn't have the emotional resilience, physical health, finances, work, career, mission. I didn't really have a mission. I was kind of just floating and milking my job in an industry I didn't really care about. So it's like we have all these situations in life that kind of fall into patterns, and we let the wind kind of blow us around. If you're not aiming for an island and choosing where you want to be, you're just going to be blown in whatever direction and end up typically in a place not by your design and not essentially where you want to be. So the most important thing, if you want to start all this, is what do you want? A lot of people say they want things, but to actually get the things you want, you have to change. So that's going to be a recurring theme in a lot of this stuff. Yeah, so a lot of it's limiting beliefs. A lot of us think we don't have what it takes or we can't do it. So we have identities wrapped up in these beliefs. I believe if I believe the gym is a waste of time, or putting a lot of muscle on is dumb, or it doesn't really get me anything, I don't really know the biology of the science behind it, is kind of what you're saying. Honestly, if you don't understand mind-muscle connection and everything that goes into that, and how it actually improves your neurology and your brain chemistry, there's a lot of things that go into these things that we don't actually have the knowledge or expertise on. We just make these judgments and these assumptions on topics that we don't really understand, and we just lead our lives along on these false assumptions of a reality that's constructed based on our experiences when we were little kids. Essentially, our parents, our peers, our siblings, our teachers, our bosses, anywhere you're getting information from, essentially, you're warping or you're constructing your worldview, and you have these beliefs around that stuff. And it's not until you challenge those things that you begin to see the patterns of behavior that you have are wrapped around your identity. So you'll follow through with certain actions, or you won't, based on things that you value, based on your belief structure, which ultimately makes your identity. So I just got low power mode. So I don't know if it's still, I think it's still recording. We're good. So you have beliefs. And all beliefs are limiting. This is what a lot of people may not understand, because people talk about limiting beliefs like it's a bad thing. All beliefs are limiting because there's always going to be an amount of ignorance around what you're unaware of. There's always something to learn. There's always more. You can never learn everything. You can't know everything. Therefore, you have a limit to what you believe to be real or true. And that's the whole part of this whole journey, is uncovering, just becoming more aware, uncovering what you don't know, and exposing yourself to that stuff, and having novel experiences. One of our essential human needs of variety, spice of life. So doing new things, trying new things, new foods, traveling to new places, studying new topics, learning about things that you didn't know about before. It's really healthy for your brain. You want to challenge your limiting beliefs. You want to just push it to the edge. Because if you have, like, say, a golf ball size of consciousness and you never ask the right questions, then you're never going to expand further out. Because the more questions you ask and the more you reflect and the more you meditate, you expand your consciousness, you expand your awareness. And think of them like bubbles. So what activities or things are you doing to push yourself over time to challenge your limiting beliefs, to become more and more aware of your patterns of behavior that make up your identity? Why is this all important? Why am I talking about this stuff? Because I used to smoke cigarettes every day for 17 years. I used to smoke weed all the time. I used to play video games every single day. For hours, for years. I used to eat fast food all the time, masturbate, didn't have a serious relationship until I was 26. Like, there's so many things that I thought of myself as pathetic. I didn't like who I was because I wasn't stepping into my power and being responsible for things and exercising discipline in a lot of these different areas. Like I said earlier, my job did not, it's not that I didn't appreciate it. I was grateful for it and everything like that, but it was soul-sucking and not fulfilling at all, and didn't really fulfill me as a person. So, but I allowed it to happen because I wasn't willing to discipline myself to take the steps to change, because there wasn't a pain behind it. I wasn't acknowledging my pain and looking at it until it tipped over the scale with certain life events. So we don't want to, ideally, we don't want to wait until life storm comes and kicks our ass and they're like, okay, now I'm going to change, because 10 years might go by. And if you had only asked of yourself earlier on to raise your standards and to be real with yourself, to start building yourself up into the person that you want to become through doing repetition of getting the skills that you need, whatever it is, communication, studying certain topics to get better in your field, whatever it is, whatever industry you want to be in, making that decision and sailing towards the island of your desire each and every day. You set your sail to catch a favorable wind. That's the metaphor, is that we're like the helmsman of our ship at sea, and every day you wake up is another opportunity to set your sail to catch the wind. You cannot control the wind, but you can control how you set your sail. That's the metaphor for, we can't control life's events or things that happen for us. I say for us because that's me saying that everything is a lesson instead of to us, as if I'm a victim and I can't do anything about it. Use transformational vocabulary to say life is happening for us, to grow and change and learn. We cannot necessarily control that. We can't control the wind, but we can control how we respond to it. We can control how we set our sail to guide us in the direction that we want to go. And a lot of times it's just like a 2-degree shift. But if you're way off course and you're not even paying attention, you're not even looking at your compass, so to speak, you're gonna end up just anywhere. And that's not a great way to plot your course for life. People come up with plans for all sorts of things, but they don't plan out their own lives or where they want to be. And they wonder why on their deathbed they lived a life that was unfulfilling. So the number one regret people have on their deathbeds is they lived a life that was not in accordance with their truth. They felt like they lived for other people, and they felt like they weren't true to themselves. It's the number one, most common. If If you can catch this early, the earlier you catch this, the better. There's no time better than now to start making these changes. But you have to have enough pain. Like everybody has pain, but it's like, what's your threshold? When is enough enough? When you say, okay, this is my rock bottom. Are you going to wait until you're 500 pounds or 12% body fat? Big difference there. It's just what you ask of yourself, right? So you can set your rock bottom to whatever it is. Some people are, homeless and hooked on drugs and they're just in a terrible condition. And that's their rock bottom. Other people, it's like, I failed on a test once. Boom, I hit rock bottom. So you see how it's all mental frames. That's what shapes our reality. You want to test the frame that you're using. You want to pay attention to your behaviors. You want to pay attention to things that trigger you, your emotional resilience, how you respond to things happening for you. Because all of them are showing you basically aspects of yourself all the time. It's happening every single day. It's my passion now, and this is what I'm going into. This stuff has changed my life in a relatively short amount of time. And a lot of it's education. So you want to invest in things you can carry around with you at all times that no government can take away. A divorce cannot take it away. No person can take away your education and your physical health could be if you're thrown in prison or something like that. So education is the number one thing you want to invest in. You want to learn as much as you can. And how do you do that? From other people. If you want to save time, buy your time back, you buy it by learning from the lessons other people have experienced. So you don't have to go through the trial and error that they did to learn what they learned. Because like I said earlier, life is happening for you, each and every one of us. We're all having our lessons and our different experiences on our journey to get better and better and better as there's new levels. There's always a new level. There's always room for improvement. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So how are you setting your sail each day to catch a favorable wind to aim you and send you towards the island of your desire each day? Each day you get closer and closer and closer. You don't even know what this is, and you need to sit there and meditate and think about what the hell do I want. And if you don't know what you want, then you need to look at human needs and understand what needs do you want fulfilled. Certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, growth, spirituality, or contribution to something greater than yourself. Those are the 6 human needs adapted by Tony Robbins, taken from Maslow's hierarchy of human needs that you can use as a precursor to understanding what you want. Just think like, what needs do I have? What do I actually care about? And try to make it as noble and coming from a place of integrity as possible. If it's like, I want a car, well, why do you want a car? Because you want status? Because you want to go fast? Because you want experience? Because you want to experience new things? Really get down in and figure out exactly what it is you want and why, and question this stuff as much as you possibly can. And when you come up with an answer, ask why again. Like, keep going down to the root of what it is you actually want. Most people just want love and connection, to be accepted. Most people feel unworthy and therefore unlovable. So they want love and connection. They want to feel accepted. They want to feel like they belong. But they also want to feel like an individual. So we want to be a part of the tribe, but we also want to be recognized as an individual. They say that's in between that is where art is created, is in between that force. So what are your limiting beliefs? Or where are you at right now, essentially? And are you okay with that? Do you want to stay the same? Or is there too much pain staying the same and therefore you're going to change into this new version of yourself? Just knowing that you can always improve, and if you're gradually getting better every day, let's look at the mantra. Progress equals happiness. I live by this now, and it's changed my life. Hopefully that doesn't go off the screen. Probably did. Progress equals happiness. Bloop. So here it is. It's like a visual of progress, right? You're becoming more and more aware. You're expanding your knowledge of how you exist in space and time and your effect on the world around you and how the world is affecting you. And the choices or the opportunities each day that you're using to use to become better. And not to become a victim and say, poor me, but to say like, hey, how can I use this? How can I learn from this? How is the worst thing that ever happened to me actually the best thing that happened to me? Because hindsight, you look back at these things, you realize like, actually that hurt a lot and it was painful, but I learned so much. It was so valuable because it gave me an understanding I didn't have before. And I'm using that understanding. It's shaping my identity and therefore my behavior. And now I act in accordance with this new lesson, and it helps me get even further to a new level that I didn't realize was there before. So you can say shame, grief, guilt, pain. Those are all teachers. They're instructors, and they're here to teach us. And if you keep feeling the same pain over and over and over again, you're not getting the lesson because you're probably not thinking that you need to change. You think things outside of you need to change. But it's always us who need to change. So, yeah, I hope this is informative and this helps out. I don't really know how to expand on this right now, but it's already getting up into 16 minutes. It's pretty long. This is stuff about identity. It goes into psychology. Study more about the brain. If you want to know more about this stuff, reach out and ask me. I'll have a myriad of resources on these topics and pull them together and also point you in the right direction for other people in this field that I have gained incredible amounts of wisdom and knowledge from, and that I pass on to everybody else because, like I said before, I'm obsessed with it. It helped me change my life. It's groundbreaking material if it's, if you're not aware of this stuff and you start becoming more aware of it. When you get to these higher levels of consciousness, you start to see things you didn't realize were there before on like a day-to-day basis in your relationships, in your business, your relationship with your kids, your family, your friends, your speech, the way you talk to yourself and other people. You start to notice all these little things and these habits. And what you ask of yourself, you shall receive from life. So I ask you to explore this stuff. I ask you to ask yourself, let's put it that way, to explore your limiting beliefs, see where you're at right now, and think about where you want to be. And where's your pain at? Like, identify with your pain, right? If you're living a happy-go-lucky life and you're good to go, that's great. I would just say consider progress equals happiness, because you can still, there's always just room to improve. You can always make it better. And if you're always constantly trying to refine and make better your situation, it's really hard to go in the other direction. You can't really go towards the direction of detriment. Your life will always be going in the direction of progress. So if this is any value to you, share this with anybody that you know. Let them know as well. Try to inform others as much as you can to raise the consciousness of not only ourselves, but everybody else around us, because the better we get, the better things around us get, our lives. We show up for people at a higher level. Other people can show up at a higher level because you become a beacon of light for other people, that they have permission to raise their standards as well, because a lot of people are kind of just matching and meeting other people at their expectations of themselves or what other people expect of them. So let's raise the bar, let's raise our standards, and live a better life.